Diseases can be cured, and we can cure them with medicines or specific actions to treat these diseases. We should try to take these actions as a preventive measure because it is better to prevent a disease than to cure a disease. The megalomania disease, which is about unrealistic expectations, you can prevent it or handle it with managing the triple constraint. You should define a triple constraint, you should define the different scenarios and agree upon a baseline. And then you start managing these expectations on a continuous basis. The busy fool syndrome, which is about busy, there the recommendation is to implement a project lifecycle. A project lifecycle that contains a study phase. So that means that in your project, you assure that you take some time to study about the project, to define the approach, to define the scope, and to define the project result before you actually get into the action. The TBC-TBD disease, to handle that one, the first advice is don't postpone decisions. Try to take the decisions as soon as possible and try to leave as less as possible open ends. In the case that is not possible because you need more information, for example, or they need more clarification to be able to take a decision, at that moment in time, formalize the assumptions. Formalizing the assumptions has the caveat that you define also a risk at the same time, because an assumption can be wrong, but an assumption can be true as well. So you should also apply risk management to every assumption that you identify. Selective amnesia, the disease where people tend to forget, it is very important to assure that you can take decisions right on time. Therefore, you need to implement a governance process. But at the same time, you should make use of a project control file. Project control file is the way how you structure project documentation. That means that documentation as such is a good help against forgetting. Every decision meeting or any other meeting should be followed by meeting minutes. Meeting minutes that are easily verifiable and easily searchable. It's also important to implement a central decision register, because often the selective amnesia relates to decisions that have been made. Incorporating decisions into the meeting minutes is already a very good step, but often it is very hard to retrieve them out of these kind of meeting minutes, especially when you're already along the way in the project. I like to incorporate my decisions not in the meeting minutes, but to create an easy searchable decision register which is placed on the project control file. The student syndrome is a syndrome where people tend to postpone until the pressure is high enough to start doing the work, but often finding themselves they do not have enough time to realize what is requested. To handle the student syndrome, we like to advise the decomposition technique to decompose the scope into smaller parts. With a nice word, it will be called a work breakdown structure. We also recommend the decomposition of the timeline. If you assign people to a task for which they have 3 weeks time to realize, they will wait perhaps for 2 weeks and then start only finding out they have 1 week left. If you cut down the timeline, but also the chunk of work, the scope of that task, into a smaller part, perhaps the timeline is only 1 week anymore. So the moment they need to start, they will start, because the pressure or the so-called pressure is high enough.